You are currently being punished for your loyalty. Read that again in your head. You gave her everything, you became completely transparent, and her reward to you was treating you like an absolute ghost. You did exactly what society told you to do. You were communicative, you were present, you made her the absolute center of your universe. And your reward? You became invisible. You became a backup plan. But by the time we reach the final minute of this video, I am going to reveal the phantom shift. It is one specific psychological trigger that instantly forces a total rewrite of how you are perceived, turning your absence into her absolute obsession. If you are tired of being an option, hit subscribe. We do not deal in comforting lies here. We deal in reality. Now let us look at the anatomy of your mistake. You thought your presence was a gift. You thought that by texting back within 3 seconds, by clearing your schedule for her maybes, you were proving your high value as a dependable man. You were wrong. In the brutal marketplace of human psychology, hyperavailability destroys value. It is basic economics applied to human desire. When diamonds are everywhere, they become gravel. When your attention is everywhere, it becomes noise. She does not see a high-value man. She sees a safety net. And this is where the trap closes. You start giving more. She pulls back, so you double down. You send paragraphs. She sends one-word replies. You try to initiate deep conversations to fix it. She leaves you on red. Why? Because human beings cannot desire what they already possess in excess. Desire requires a gap. Desire requires space. Desire requires the very real threat of loss. But here is the brutal reality. You removed the threat of loss. You made yourself a certainty. The human brain is wired to ignore certainties. When you walk into a room, you do not think about the oxygen. You do not panic about the oxygen. You just breathe it. You only notice the oxygen when someone wraps their hands around your throat and takes it away. Right now, you are the oxygen. You are just there, invisible, taken entirely for granted. Let me explain why this destroys you. Attraction is driven by dopamine. Dopamine is not the hormone of pleasure. It is the hormone of anticipation. It is the thrill of the chase, the uncertainty of the outcome, the mystery of the unknown. When you are entirely predictable, when she knows exactly what you will say, when you will say it, and how quickly you will respond, you flatline her dopamine. You bore her subconscious mind. She might like you as a person, but she cannot feel that visceral magnetic pull toward you. And this is exactly where most men completely ruin their lives. They mistake her lack of anxiety for security. They think she knows I love her, so she feels safe. No. She feels bored. She feels unchallenged. And eventually, she will seek that challenge elsewhere. It is not malicious. It is biological. So how do we weaponize this biology? How do we reclaim the frame? We initiate the power of radical absence. I am not talking about throwing a tantrum. I am not talking about the silent treatment to manipulate an apology. The silent treatment is what weak men do when they are throwing a pity party. Radical absence is different. Radical absence is the quiet, immovable realization that your time is too expensive to spend on someone who bargains for it with pennies. Now pay close attention to this next part. When you initiate radical absence, you do not announce your departure. You do not send the dramatic goodbye paragraph. Announcements are just another plea for attention. You simply withdraw your energy. You redirect your absolute focus toward your own empire, your physique, your finances, your unshakable purpose. And here's what happens in her mind the moment you actually do this. Day 1, she feels nothing. Day 2, she feels a slight breeze of relief. He finally stopped smothering me, she thinks. Day 3, 4, 5. The silence starts to echo, but here's where the dynamic flips. Her brain, accustomed to your constant validation, suddenly registers a deficit. The dopamine IV drip has been ripped out of her arm. She checks her phone. Nothing. She checks your social media. Nothing. You are not watching her stories. You are not orbiting her existence. You have vanished. This triggers a primal psychological response called the contrast effect. Because you were always there, your sudden absence is deafening. It creates a psychological vacuum, and human nature abhors a vacuum. Her anxiety spikes. Her curiosity flares. Did he find someone else? Was I wrong about his value? Why doesn't he care anymore? And this is the exact moment she will test you. Do not fail this test. She will send the breadcrumb. It will be a random meme. It will be a hey, saw this and thought of you. It will be a completely insignificant text designed to do one thing: check the temperature of your compliance. But here is where 99% of guys fold. They see the notification and their heart rate spikes. They think they won the game. They wait exactly 20 minutes to seem busy, and then they reply, boom, you just lost. You proved that your absence was just a tactical pause, not a permanent elevation in your self-respect. You proved you were still on the leash. You were just waiting in a different room. Let me tell you the secret of the top 1%. True power is non-reactive. When that breadcrumb comes, you must recognize it for what it is, an ego check. She does not miss you yet. She misses the mirror you provided, the mirror that told her she was important. If you shatter that mirror by remaining unresponsive or by giving a brief, cold, and utterly indifferent reply hours later, you send a shockwave through her nervous system. Now we are entering the danger zone. When she realizes the old version of you is dead, panic sets in. The certainty is gone. The safety net has been cut. She is in free fall. And for the first time in your entire dynamic, she is forced to look up to see you. You are no longer beneath her, waiting for scraps. You are above her, focused on the horizon. Why does this work? It is rooted in the scarcity principle. People assign higher value to opportunities when they are less available. The same man who was worthless on Tuesday becomes a king on Friday simply because he became inaccessible. Your physical attributes did not change. Your bank account did not change. Your energetic frame changed. You stopped leaking your power into a black hole. But let us go deeper. This cannot be an act. If you are sitting in your room, staring at the wall, gripping your phone, and agonizing over her reaction, you are still losing. She is still the center of your universe. You are just hiding the telescope. Women have a sixth sense for fake stoicism. They can smell the desperation underneath your silence. And this is where the trap closes once more. The only way radical absence works is if it is powered by genuine self-respect. You have to look in the mirror and decide with cold-blooded certainty that you are the prize. You have to realize that every second you spend agonizing over a woman who treats you like an option is a second stolen from your legacy. Let us talk about legacy. As a man, your value is built. It is forged in the gym. It is forged in your business. It is forged in the quiet, lonely hours where you do the work nobody praises you for. When you prioritize a woman over your own mission, you disrespect your own potential, and women are hypergamous by nature. They cannot respect a man who respects himself less than he respects her. Now pay close attention, because this is the turning point. This is the phantom shift I promised you at the start. The phantom shift is the exact moment you transition from tactical withdrawal to permanent detachment. It is the moment you realize the goal was never to win her back. The goal was to win yourself back. The shift happens when you stop viewing absence as a weapon to use against her and start viewing it as a shield to protect your own sacred energy. You become a phantom to your past. The desperate, needy, hyper-available guy dies. He is gone. In his place stands a man who is dangerously focused, a man who moves in silence, a man who requires zero external validation to justify his existence. And here is the beautiful, undeniable irony of the phantom shift. The exact moment you truly no longer care if she ever comes back is the exact moment she will do everything in her power to return. Because she can feel the energetic shift. She can sense that you have ascended. You are no longer in her orbit. She is now trying to re-enter yours. But when she does, and she will, you will look at her with new eyes. The pedestal is gone. You will see her not as a goddess who controls your emotional state, but as a flawed human being who had her chance and fundamentally failed to recognize your worth when you were standing right in front of her. And this is the ultimate test of your masculine frame. Do you let her back in, or do you keep walking? Most men regress. They let her back in, she behaves for a week, and then the cycle repeats because she knows you will eventually cave. But the man who has truly mastered self-respect, he doesn't go backwards. He understands that a woman who only values you when you are walking away is a woman who thrives on toxicity. She does not love you. She loves the anxiety of losing you. And you do not have the time or the energy to babysit someone else's broken psychology. You are building an empire. You are forging a life of absolute sovereignty. Let her watch from the bleachers. Let her tell her friends about the guy who changed. Let her carry the heavy, inescapable burden of regret. That is her cross to bear, not yours. This is not about anger. Anger means you still care. Anger means she still controls your emotional thermostat. This is about total, unshakable indifference. Indifference is the highest form of self-love. It is the quiet declaration that your peace of mind is vastly more important than her fleeting attention. So where do you go from here? You shut down the access. You kill the endless scrolling. You take that intense, burning frustration in your chest, the anger of being taken for granted, the sting of being ignored, and you transmute it. You channel every ounce of that dark energy into your workouts, your business, your intellect. You become a monster of productivity. You elevate your aesthetic. You expand your network. You create a life that is so vibrant, so demanding, and so exceptionally high value that the idea of waiting around for a text message becomes laughable. And one day, weeks or months from now, she will see a glimpse of you, maybe in person, maybe through the grapevine. And she will realize with a terrifying clarity that she did not just lose a guy who liked her. She lost a king in the making. She dropped a diamond to pick up a rock, and now the diamond is completely out of reach, shining in a crown she is not allowed to wear. That is the power of absence. That is the armor of self-respect. It is the ultimate filter for your life. It removes those who drain you and makes absolute room for those who celebrate you. But it demands sacrifice. It demands the death of your needy ego. You must be willing to let the old you burn. You must be willing to walk through the fire of loneliness until you forge a spirit of independence. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to respect you until you force them to, simply by the uncompromising way you respect yourself. The phantom shift is now yours. You know the truth. You know the mechanics. The only question left is whether you have the spine to execute it. Do not just watch this and go back to being an option. Draw the line today. If this woke you up, if this gave you the blueprint you have been starving for, hit that subscribe button. We are building an army of unapologetic, high-value men who refuse to settle. Stay dangerous.